Hello, Judah here with Galactic Family. How may we serve you this evening?
With the Galactic Family, what does that mean? The Palladian sisters are there, and Lars and I forget what the Amy's there.
Abby.
I'm sorry.
Yes, and Zed.
Zed. Okay.
And Essex of Essasani.
Oh. Nice. So let's take the Palladians first. How long do they tend to live, and what happens if and when they pass away?
We live several hundred years. It is not uncommon for us to live as long as perhaps 500 years. And many of us return to a new light body within our Pleiadian family. Our bodies are very refined and resilient and operate primarily on photons of light, and so they are very durable.
So when you come into the new body, it's already mature and ready to go. It's not like you come in like a child and then grow.
We have families and partnerships and children enter with acceptance and the understanding of their wisdom and gathered experience. In other words, they are not treated as being immature or incapable like human children are.
So when after somebody leaves their light body and comes into a new light body, do they come into like a baby-sized light body and then grow up just like human beings? And that's why you have them as children?
The form increases and expands over time through evolution of the soul, yes. And angels have this phenomenon as well. New angels, being called cherubs, also evolve in stature in their light bodies. And many angels may be 12 to 15 feet tall and may expand over the course of their evolution in their bodily form and in its capacity to fill a space-time reality.
Do I have a guardian angel? And who is that?
Yes, of course.
And who is it?
If you will, we will transition you to your guardian angel here. Yes, your guardian angel is here. Do you have an impression of his name?
No, Henry? This is actually part of what my questioning I was leading to. I it sounds like some people have an ongoing conversation with their guardian angel, and I don't know that I do. I mean, I don't, not consciously. Is my guardian angel, is it sending me messages at times? Is it protecting me at times? How is it helping me?
Yes, your guardian angel's name is John Henry.
Henry, I got part of it.
John Henry, and he stands primarily to the left of you, generally speaking. And many of the thoughts that you think are thoughts impressed upon you by John Henry. Many of your more illuminated thoughts and understandings about every manner of thing. And he has always been very active, always in your life, in every aspect of your life. The term guardian is limiting because John Henry and others, guardian angels, are involved in every aspect of your being, not just in safety and protection. He looks very much like you, very much like you in your human form.
So is he a particular ET, or is he an angel?
He is an angel emanating forth from the Christ consciousness. When we say Christ consciousness, we are not speaking of Jesus the Christ. We are speaking of the universal anointed Christ consciousness.
Okay, so...
And you may certainly speak to him anytime and avail yourself of the relationship and assistance. However, he will serve you with consistency, irregardless.
So, is this truly his name, or do some of these ETs and angels be given names that make sense to us, human beings?
Well, the true names of angels cannot be spoken.
Right.
They are of holy light languages and indistinguishable to the human ear, unless one is clairaudient. And so some of these angels have names of their own. Others allow you to choose their name. It does not matter much to them at all. It does not alter their function in any way.
Who's Mary? To me. Is there a Mary?
Yes, Mary is also a guardian angel for you as well on the right hand. Mary is a saint. She is a human soul that has transcended to an angelic state.
Okay, so John Henry gives me information. Did I heard that correctly?
His task is much broader than that. He influences every part of your decision making. In all matters, small and large.
So
including impulses, instinct, movement, direction, when and where and how you travel and move in the world.
I thought I had free will.
Of course you do.
It sounds like he tells me everything.
Well, It is difficult for you to understand. It's not as if you're obeying blindly. It's as if you're working together in tandem. For instance, your index finger and your thumb. Your index finger and your thumb work together in tandem continually. They need not communicate with one another or deliberate as to who will do what task. They work together intuitively, and this is how you work with John Henry. You might also, it's not quite as accurate as the thumb and forefinger metaphor, but you might also think of him as, for instance, as an identical twin. If you've ever encountered identical twins that are so much alike that they think and feel and act and behave and make choices and so on in a similar manner.
Was his name John before, or excuse me, was his name Henry and was her name Mary before I just said that?
Yes.
So that's the John and Mary that when I started doing Silva mind control and thought I had guides as the two that were then.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And John means beloved. Mother Mary is more of her role is more in the realm of loving and comforting you and nurturing you in the soul realm.
And you say that one's on the left and one's on the right. So wherever I go, they're there all the time, or they're just there right now?
They are always with you. I say left and right because the left function of your body and mind is different than the right function of your body and mind. Mm-hmm. Mary having more influence over the right function of your body and John Henry over the left. And so you may if you tune in carefully as you begin to work with them, you may sense a leaning to the left. Your body may lean to the left. That could be inspiration from John Henry, or your body may lean to the right, inspiration from Mary, or you may hear or feel the sensation of a thought in the left or right hemisphere, and that is indicative of their influence.
Don't they get bored?
No. You are vast and eternal, and they know and understand things about you that you do not understand about yourself.
Mm-hmm. So they can tell me what that is whenever. And so do they have other jobs or other things that they do? Do they have other people that they help?
No.
Wow. Well, maybe Mary can help me sort out what to say to Cosmere. Still haven't figured it out yet.
Yes. And John Henry will assist you in the logistics and timing.
So where does Zed fit into all this?
Zed is your higher self in a future realm.
Mm-hmm. But is he around me all the time too? Like John and Mary? Or he just comes around when he's called on? Or?
Well, he is you.
Mm-hmm.
So he is constantly accessible. There's no coming or going. He is you. He is your higher self.
Okay, so how's his job different than, say, John or Mary's?
Well, he is living in a different reality. And is you experiencing in this now moment simultaneously with you a different reality. While you are experiencing being Chuck Hipple, you are also experiencing being Zed, the Zeta Reticuli, in an artificial vehicle.
Why am I not conscious of that?
Well, we think it's easier to live one life at a time.
Yeah.
But he has wisdom to offer you in regards to the obvious.
Well, tell all three of them I can take all the help and all the advice that they can give me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's very simple, a matter of asking. It's so simple that most people miss the opportunity. It is the ego's way to make things complex.
Mm-hmm.
And working with angels is as simple as asking a question and then receiving the answer from your angel in your thought impressions, and then trusting that you have heard. And the evidence of the hearing is peace. The voice of the ego is fear-driven. The voice of your guardian angels and your higher self is clear and peaceful.
Is it possible to tell me how much of the time my decisions or what I say or what I do is ego-driven?
Well, we would say because of who you are and the point in which you are in your evolution, that when you are in reclusion or in an intimate setting such as this, your ego subsides. And when you are interacting with lower and more worldly energies, your ego arises. And this is a natural protective defense to operating in the material world.
But I don't need to do that.
The choice is yours if you choose to operate from your higher self. There is more in worldly context, there is more vulnerability, which is why your wife experiences high degree of vulnerability. She was writing today. We will share what she was writing in the way of explanation. When one nears enlightenment, the ego is less tenacious, with less bite and tooth to it, and instead it is more like a favorite old sweater. So you may take it off when you are comfortable and warm in your environment, in your 3D, 4D relationships, such as now in your home here with your wife. You are comfortable, you are relaxed, you don't need your favorite old sweater. You are warm, you are at peace. There's no need of your ego in this moment, you see. because you are not under any threat. You would agree.
Yes.
And then, however, in other climates, in other vibrational climates, then you might pull on your old sweater, you see, to warm you and to offer you some comfort and some protection. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. The problem only comes if you are so attached to your sweater that you cannot let it go. You see, an enlightened one takes the sweater on and off as needed, but wouldn't cry or be bereft if the sweater was lost. You see?
Yes.
And the enlightened one understands the sweater is not the self. It is simply something one enjoys.
Yes, I guess I just always hear from other things about the ego is, you got to get rid of the ego. You got to shed the ego.
Well, the goal is not to get rid of it. The goal is to allow it to subside and relax. So you may choose to engage your ego to serve your soul in various ways, for instance. And should you choose to lay it aside, to take it off, then you have more vulnerability in various contexts. But for this vessel, it has been her experience as she grows that her ego feels more and more intolerable. It is like wearing a sweater on a very hot summer day, and one wants to be rid of it immediately, to take it off. And so when she picks up her ego again in various contexts, it feels immediately intolerable, and she must be rid of it. And this is a sign of enlightenment. It could also be seen as a food, perhaps a very delicate and delicious, healthful food, but it has been left in storage for too long and has grown rancid. And so an enlightened one will take the ego out of its storage and immediately smell the smell of its rancid and immediately want to throw it out. This is also a sign of enlightenment. Enlightenment is a growing distaste for one's ego. And the smell of it, of one's own ego, is sickening to the soul. And so the soul quickly disposes of it before partaking of it, before ingesting it, before putting it to use, you see. And by this also you will know you are growing towards enlightenment when you can no longer stand yourself in the state of the ego, or in alignment with one's ego.
Okay, so explain to me, it seems like when I hear enlightened people tell about their moment they became enlightened, there was some kind of amazing, spiritual, blissful experience.
Yes.
Is that happen with everybody who becomes enlightened? And did that happen with the vessel?
Yes, certainly. And it is an indescribable state in which one is overcome with the perfection of all things, and awe and wonder and gratitude for the perfection of all things, and can see a miracle in the smallest of things. For example, with this one, when pouring liquid detergent from its container in a state of satori, and she saw the liquid moving around the mouth of the container, and it's flowing out, and she was completely enraptured with the miracle of how a liquid flows, and it was an indescribable revelation of wonder that words cannot do justice to. The awe of the moment from this very, very simple thing.
Well, when I'm around her, do I prevent her from having those kind of experiences?
Sometimes, but this is also what it means to be enlightened, is to lay aside higher states as a concession in order to show love for others and to be in love and expressing love, being love with others. And you also have done this very thing in the past in different ways, held yourself in a vibrational state of love when she was in lower states of pain or unconsciousness. And this too is another characteristic of being enlightened, when one can remain in love no matter what is going on around them, remaining in a disposition of love and acceptance. This is why the Christ and his crucifixion is so highly offensive, because he was willing to receive harm to himself in order to be true to love and light. Because love is costly. To love another is to, if they should reject you, if they should part ways with you, to love them is to always leave open your front door with your porch light on for that one. You do what you must do to love them and to, as we have taught you, love must be accompanied by truth. If love is not accompanied by truth, it is not love, it is fear. And so you must tell the truth to anyone that you love. And you must speak your truth with love. And then if that one cannot receive the truth, as we said, you let them go their way, but with the light on the front porch.
And if the truth hurts them emotionally?
The truth can never, ever, ever, ever wound the soul. It will only wound the ego. And so we encourage you never to feel guilt about that. If you've spoken the truth and you've spoken it in love and there is a wounding, it is because the ego must die. And you see, the ego will do everything it can to preserve itself. But you cannot take responsibility for a wound that is caused by the ego. This is why each one we are entreating to raise their level of consciousness. Know where you are. Know what your level of consciousness is. If you are one who lives and moves and breathes at the level of unconditional love, you may speak your truth to anyone at any time with any tone or any manner and know that it comes from love. And if the other is hurt, it is not the soul that is hurt, but the ego. And for this, you cannot take responsibility. Pride will always be hurt and offended. And this is why we have taught you never to take things personally. For one who takes things personally, one who is offended, is in pride. And pride is a defense for fear. And so when you are offended and your pride arises, know that underneath it is a fear. And perfected love has the power to unseat all fears. And so where you fear, even where you fear speaking the truth, your fear indicates a place where you yourself feel unloved, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why we say to you, through beloved, our very beloved friend Judah, lean into love and away from fear and doubt. Lean in when you feel afraid, because only by love will fear be dispelled. Well done, well done. It was a good evening and good conversation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's our pleasure.